guys, welcome to a new episode of the Holy Hour podcast, the bi-weekly podcast where we talk all about the cure. And I'm joined by Donald and Chaz. How's it going, dudes?
It's all right.
Yeah, it's a Monday night. There's no hiding it tonight because this is our mysterious caller episode. We're taking the episode to new grounds and breaking through technology frontiers on this one. And what we wanted to do...
New grounds aren't always better grounds, Gavin.
We'll see. You never know if you don't leave the basement, right? It's the story of my life. You never know what's out there. First step's leaving the basement. But the premise of tonight's episode is that we are all locked in and recording. And I'm about to throw a post up on Instagram to see if anybody out there wants to be merged into our three-way call to make this a four-way call. And we're going to talk to someone that might be a complete stranger. Maybe it's someone we know. Maybe it's someone we only know through the social media worlds out there. So what do you think, guys? Is this a terrible idea? Or?
It could be a terrible idea.
Yeah. I feel like there's some weirdness.
It could be the best idea ever.
You get three guys that are never keen on striking up a conversation with a stranger, probably, and see what happens. But that in itself, I think, is something that's a very Cure-related thing. There's a very social awkwardness thread that runs through a lot of Cure friends, I think, and maybe this is it. So let's see.
No, man.
Yeah, you're
pretty social.
You feeling social? All right, let's see what happens. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just go post it up there and then now.
Room in your life for one more.
Right now.
Hey,
I think I've listened to it.
let's see. I just got a message. Hey Gavin, just taking a break at work and browsing Facebook when I saw your post. Would be down for a chat if there's still time. Colleen, from that did the South Africa report for us.
Oh, nice.
Hey, that'd be cool. You down?
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
All right, let me jot down her number and try to merge her in. I don't know
Getting
where
those
she
digits.
is. All right, sweet, cool. Let's say
Fucking technology,
yes.
man.
All right, here we go.
Oh, shit.
Hello, it's Colleen.
Hey, Colleen, this is Gavin. How's it going?
Good. It feels weird to hear your voice.
I know,
Not
it's
in a
so weird.
podcast.
Thanks so much for getting in touch.
No worries. So what's going on? You have other people on the call?
Yeah, I'm going to merge them in right now. Hold on, let's
Okay,
see if I
cool.
don't hang up on everybody. Here
All
we
right.
go. Hitting the button. Can you hear us?
I hear people, yeah.
All right, so this is me, Gavin, and introduce yourselves, boys. I guess you can tell who that is.
I'm Donald the bad boy. How you doing?
Hi, Donald. This is Colleen.
Hi, Colleen. This is Chaz.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How you guys?
Pretty good. We were just catching Donald up on all the current events. Just chilling out here. And are you in California?
Yeah, I'm in California, so I'm just working a little bit late. I was taking a
Awesome.
break, and I saw your message.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
What a fun work break.
Yeah.
Take a break, chat about the cure.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Cool.
doing that segment. It was really well done.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Anyone that's joined the podcast that hadn't caught on, Colleen was super kind and did the South Africa shows for us, and should definitely check those out if you haven't out there. But yeah, that was great. Did it all live up to expectations in the end? By the time you got home, everything was worth it?
Yeah, it kind of was. It was kind of like I expected. Like I mentioned in the podcast, I didn't expect my favorite songs. I expected the hits. So I kind of went in with that expectation, and so I wasn't disappointed. You kind of set your expectations. But yeah, it was just amazing. I got really, as I mentioned, just right up there, and just seeing everybody being so enthusiastic. And then South Africa was definitely an interesting country to be in. Yeah.
So yeah, you've never been there before, right?
I've never been there. I've never been anywhere in Africa before.
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
Yeah,
and then I'm actually going to Sydney. I don't know. I think I might have mentioned that.
cool.
Yeah, I bought my
I was
ticket.
gonna just see if that was still on.
Yeah, no, it's happening. And yeah, I have two. So yeah, it's a crazy year. I should be probably like saving my money for like retirement and stuff.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm going to Sydney really quick. I don't have that much time off from work, so I'm going really quick. People think I'm crazy. I had an extra ticket, and I found some guy who's going to meet me at the opera house and take my other ticket, because I guess they're being really strict, and you have to show your ID, like the person who purchased the tickets.
Oh,
You go
wow.
in. So I'm going for
Yeah.
2 nights there, and then on the 6th, I'm taking off for my little Euro trip.
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
It's a lot of travel.
It is a lot, you know, but so far, I mean, maybe by the end of it I'll be tired of it, but so far it's been so fun. Like when
It
it
sounds
started
fun.
with before I'd only ever seen them like when they came into town, or like I think I drove to LA and San Diego before to see them, but then I decided to do Hyde Park, and it was just so fun. I decided let's give it
Awesome.
another try. Who knows how much longer they're gonna play? So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and in such great environments and scenarios too, and especially now that this disintegration thing, it's sounding more and more like this is it. You know, they kind of shot that down in those interviews. Did you catch all that
yeah,
recently?
I caught that. That was kind of disappointing. I mean, I get it. Maybe they don't want to play the whole album or like do a whole tour of just playing Disintegration. But I thought
Right.
that they would play a few shows in the U.S. because it's such a
Yeah.
cool idea.
Would have been nice.
Yeah.
I would have gone to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. They're doing something in L.A., but I'm not really quite sure what it is.
Yeah, it sounded a bit mysterious, but somewhere along the lines of other bands that he's picking and such, and just another big festival kind of thing, but their festival at least, you know. So that'll be cool. But yeah, I mean, I guess is a bit as much of that being a bummer that they're not doing other Disintegration shows. That makes it a bit more special for you out there. You know,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
catching the. So
I'm
that'll
curious
be-
how they're going to work in the B-sides, because I think that was in the description.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
in my mind, I don't know, maybe I'm assuming too much. I'm assuming they're just like playing the in order, you know, the album. So it's like
Yeah.
the full experience. Then I'm wondering how they would work in the B-sides.
Probably the encore.
The encore. Oh, I love
Yeah.
I hope they do
Yeah.
that.
Didn't they do
Yeah.
something like that for the Reflections thing that you
Yeah,
said, Chaz,
yeah.
or-
They played all 3 albums. They took breaks between each album, and then for the encore, they came out and played songs like from around that time frame. They played I think they played The Walk, and
Okay.
yeah. So it was really good. But then they played songs off Boys Don't Cry. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, that'll be rad with the Disintegration ones, because I think there's a good chunk, especially those B-sides that were never played live at all, ever. Even back then, I don't think. Babel.
they're
and
gonna end
stuff
the
is
show
not-
with pirate ships.
Wasn't
Yeah.
Roger? I listened to the interview with Roger on Sirius, and he was saying like some of these songs, like he doesn't even really remember ever even playing them or something like that. Like they'd never played the B-sides. He'd never played them
Yeah.
live, and he like barely remembers the songs at all.
Yeah, I bet. Because, they were probably pieced
He
together.
just like recorded
a
the
lot.
tracks, but they never played it all together as a band, even. I bet.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
That'll be cool. Damn. So, are you doing, like, multiple nights out there, or did you just hit up one of the shows, or what was your...
I was able to get tickets for 2 of them. I got
Okay.
really lucky, I think, based on like everybody else's reactions,
Yeah.
postings. Like, I mean, I don't know if you were following how it was working, but there was like some sort of lottery system
Yeah.
for the opportunity to try to purchase tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I signed up. I got my sister to sign up. I got my friend to sign up. And I was the only one who got the notification that for the code to try.
Nice.
Just the code just to try.
The code just to try, exactly.
It's so
Um,
That's
difficult.
crazy.
So there were 4. Was able to get tickets for 2 of the 4.
Cool.
Are they the same? It's like back-to-back nights, or
Yeah, it's Monday, Tuesday, so I won't be able to catch. I can't remember. It's either a Friday, Saturday, or a Saturday, Sunday. I can't remember.
Right.
And then they just announced the 5th show, but I already bought my tickets, but I don't think I had a chance. I think they only gave that code out for the 5th show to people who didn't win the lottery in the first round. something like that.
Right. Yeah, I didn't really say it anywhere, but I had put in for the chance just to see. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to go or what. But I was just like, I'll worry about that when I get the ticket. It was like,
Right. I guess
shot
I
me
got lucky
down
then.
multiple
Right.
times. Yeah. And then I got denied even for the bonus added show where they use the the losers that were added in. It got like this message. It was all like, "You have failed." It's like a really harsh wording. It was like, "You were unsuccessful in disintegration." I was like, "Yeah, oh well, kind of fits with the
Can't
theme of
remember
the
the
album."
numbers. It's a smallish venue. It's not that big.
Yeah.
I checked out the seating capacity. I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but it's so it's pretty tight. I don't understand why they're hard to
That'll
get.
be great. Yeah, that's gonna be so cool. So yeah, if you don't mind, we would love any kind of thoughts before or after the show. If you're up for it, it would be
Yeah,
great
I'm up
to.
for it. I was thinking maybe unlike maybe I'll just do like one for both shows.
Okay, yeah, whatever
I mean,
you're willing,
'cause
would be
I
so
don't know.
appreciated.
They're probably the same.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess a thing like that, they're not gonna throw too many surprise twists from night to night.
Yeah, I'll go to 2 shows and then I'll put down my thoughts on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. That would be great.
But
How you feeling about the other big announcements, the new album in general? Are you pumped for it? Are you kind of we're
yeah, so you can tell by the sound of the pitch of my I'm very neutral. I'm trying not to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
I think that's how I would describe it.
That's smart, I think, because if we just start all building it up like it's gonna be, best thing they've done by any means, it's gonna be a little like, but you have to know.
Yeah, I'm an 80s Cure girl.
Yeah.
I like Wish too. Unlike you guys, I actually do like Blood Flowers.
Yeah.
And for Wild Moose Swings, now that I know which songs to skip.
Yeah.
But I remember when it came out, I was like, what has happened to my band?
Yeah.
I was so actually, for me being so crazy about concerts right now, I was so demoralized by Wild Mood Swings. I didn't even catch that tour.
Yeah.
I mean, there was other stuff going on in my life, like severe lack of money.
Yeah.
Totally broke, and like other thing, like negative money, and like super like big credit card debt and all this kind of stuff, and like super stressed out. It was the middle of college, and I was just like, and their album sucks. Just forget it.
Sucks just like everything else.
But it was renewed when they did some touring around the late '90s. I think maybe for Galore, maybe.
Yeah.
And I went and I was a little better place, and I went and I saw them, and it just renewed everything for me.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and then when Blood Flowers came out, I actually like it. But the last 2 albums since Blood Flowers, I try.
Yeah. And they're.
I try. So.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of thinking. The new album, if it has some kind of new passion and direction behind it, it could take a weird twist where it's more of a vision. Would be kind of cool. They're already kind of like, well, we have all these songs. Should we make it a double album? Should we make it 6 songs that are just real long? I'm just like, oh boy, I don't know. It's just all the flags start popping up. I was like, I don't. But either way, I'll just be happy to have one more out there. Why not? But back on the more positive side, then, if you are traveling around all these exotic locations, do you have a dream location that you would love to see the Cure play at? Like somewhere that would just be ultimate vacation spot, and hey, it turns out the Cure's playing there too. So.
I'm actually really excited about Ireland.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of tight.
I'm kind of excited. I don't have a dream place, but like of the ones that exist, I'm really excited about Ireland. Just because it's in this castle, and I don't know, Irish countryside or something. My sister's gonna join me, and then we're gonna do a little road trip afterwards around Ireland. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
Damn, that sounds like a good time.
I'm gonna hopefully, if I get my act together, see the one in Serbia where they're in a fortress.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's cool.
A fucking fortress?
That's
Yeah,
I
there's
can't
some
even
like
imagine
it's some medieval fortress or something like that. I don't remember what century it is, but I was looking at it. I was like, okay, I gotta make a mental note to make sure to catch that one.
That's rad.
So
That'd be
out of
rad.
my way, I'm gonna spend like 2 weeks with friends in Germany, like trying to work
Right.
to make this happen, and then I'm gonna do like a little side trip to Serbia, and then I'm gonna meet my boyfriend in for a little road trip before the Lisbon show.
Awesome.
Sounds complicated, but it sounds like
It's
fun.
very complicated, yeah. I've got a spreadsheet.
I think
Nice.
it's a lot. Get it.
But then
It sounds like fun.
I ran into these guys in South Africa. Like I think I mentioned in the podcast, one of them had said it was his 100th show. And so I was kind of asking them, like, so what shows are you going to get? And they're like, well, that's not part of our trip. We're big planners. We've already planned out our trip. I guess they planned out a bunch before, like when most of them were announced, but not all of them were advanced, had been announced. And so they were funny. They're like, yeah, we're big planners. We got everything planned out. Because they were asking me, like, do I have my tickets booked and stuff like that? And I was like,
Yeah.
I haven't quite figured that out yet. They're like, oh, we're planners. We got it.
See, over planners, man, get me sometimes. It's like relax and enjoy the experience, like chill out, like. But over planners get a lot of shit done.
They do.
Yeah. And then all the cool shit around each spot too, and trying to work that in. That's always the catch. It's like, oh wait, I went to this place and didn't even see any of the cool stuff around it.
Yeah.
That'd be tough.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for. I think what I was getting at was like the venue, like Cure and Orange, like something that's got this cool venue to it. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Something.
I
Yeah.
realized
just
that wasn't
be
quite a
memorable.
destination, but.
No.
I think that in that medieval keep might be it.
Yeah.
That might be your in orange. That sounds epic.
What about you guys? Do you have a dream location?
Well, I'm bummed because I had tickets to the Ireland show. I woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning to try to buy them, and I had them in my cart, and I was like, I can't do this, and then I just let them go. So kind of kicking myself in the ass about it, but because I love Ireland. I was there a couple years ago, and it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, and it would just be amazing to see a concert there.
Yeah.
So, enjoy.
Thanks. Let me know if there's any like destinations that I should really check out. But you know, you have to do what you can manage, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We're all sad over here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Australia is my favorite country in the world, but I'd love to go back. But so yeah, I'm jealous of that one. That would be my dream location, I think. Especially at the Opera House there would be so cool. But I don't want to keep you too. Are you all right on your break from work there? You don't want to get you fired for the whole hour podcast.
Well, yeah, don't stress. I'm after hours and just like hanging out trying to get my research done. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of work is it again, if you don't mind me asking?
I work in a research lab. Like, I'm actually I'm a linguist. I work with languages and computers, like speech and language technology.
Nice.
So we're kind of in a research lab where we research that kind of stuff, like Siri. Actually, is spun out of my company. Actually, my research institute. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm more of an Alexa guy myself, but whatever.
Yeah.
To give you a kind of an idea of what I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's good. Yeah, it gives you that capability to travel around and still get some work done. And
Yeah, because I can do a lot of my stuff remotely. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. I don't know. It's kind of a big stress right now because I have a big project coming in that's kind of been like in the works for several months, and all these months I've been like, please don't come in right before I go to Europe. Please don't come right before I go. And so finally, it looks like it's been delaying, and finally it looks like it's coming in, and they're like, can we have the kickoff meeting June 4th, 5th, or 6th? And I'm like, well, June 4th or 5th would be fine, but June 6th, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
I planned this.
I know. It's kind of my worst nightmare right now because this whole time, I was writing the proposal and stuff like that. I was like, please don't start, because it has to go through contracts and like all this stuff. Who knows when things are going to happen? I'm like, please don't start right when I take off. Please don't start. But that's what looks like what's happening.
Oh,
so that's probably what I'm going to be doing a lot of while I'm gone.
That's great.
This is a great like little peek behind the curtain for me of just like so is see like all these Cure fans that like go on these like epic big trips all the time, like just left and right, like big European travel trip after another. It's like, how do you do this?
I don't think I could do this every year.
Yeah.
This is like a special year.
Right.
I don't have kids,
Hell
which
yeah.
makes like a big,
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have that. I have a cat and I have a boyfriend, and
It's all you need, right?
they can feed them. But yeah, when I met the people in South Africa, I was like, because they said like, yeah, 2016 they caught like 36 shows from the U.S.
How do
tour.
what?
And I was like, how do you, and I asked them that question, like what you're
Jesus,
asking right now.
yeah.
I said, how do you do it? Like, I asked them, I said, are you self-employed? That's what I asked them.
Yeah.
And they said, no, but, we have a lot of vacation time and we're planners or something like that.
They're independently wealthy.
Right.
Or just have a really good credit card, I guess.
Exactly.
They should write a
Lot of
book.
debt.
Like, what kind of planning is that? Like,
Yeah, it is.
like I'm playing some shit out. Like, it's impressive.
Did you catch it? You said multiple shows then on the Blood Flowers tour then?
I think so. I at least 3. I know I saw them San Diego, LA, and then the San Francisco Bay Area.
Cool. Yeah, that was a great show. We saw just the one passing through our town at Meriwether, it's like Maryland, technically DC area, I guess, Columbia, Maryland. But yeah, it was cool because they were just playing like a lot of the epic old stuff again and making it feel like finale shows, But
Yeah, I saw them. I think at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, and they're playing some really stuff from like 17 Seconds and Faith Air. It was really great. Yeah, and to
sounds
put things
dope.
in perspective, that trip was funded by my credit card at
Yeah.
the time, so it's not like it's always been this way. I just feel like I can do it this year, and so I'm gonna do
Yeah,
it.
that's cool.
It sounds fun, man. How's the Greek Theater, man? I always wanted to see a show there.
I like it in LA. I've been there. Well, I feel like I've been there at least twice, probably both to see The Cure.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you've heard of the Greek Theater in Berkeley, California.
Mm-mm.
That's actually where I grew up.
Right.
Yeah, it's on the UC Berkeley campus. It's also really fun. It's really nice. I go there a lot for concerts. I saw Interpol there, Nick Cave, Florence and the Machine. Yeah, I go there a lot. It's really nice, like outdoor venue.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like pleasant surroundings to like taking a show. The theater's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Real quick, did you have any Disintegration revelations over the anniversary? Did you feel like that it struck any new chords in the last couple weeks as everybody was celebrating it?
Just more like reiterating how great it is.
Yeah.
Just confirming. And the Prayer Tour was the first time that I saw them.
Oh, cool.
I think a little bit more like, not revelations, but I think I paid attention a little bit more to like the backstory of what was going on with them. I think I was kind of oblivious at the time, like how
Yeah.
stressful it was for them, and how big. I mean, even though they'd kind of hit it big with Head on the Door and Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, that like the Prayer Tour just really was shocking.
Yeah.
Like the size of the arenas that they were playing, and then I guess learning more about like his LSD use to
Yeah.
and then just listening back to the interviews like about the process about how they created the album. I guess I hadn't really, because I'm not a musician, maybe I hadn't thought about it that much, but it was just really cool how they were describing how they, I don't know, I don't quite
Right.
understand the process actually, that like they would write the music and then Robert would go off and write the lyrics.
Yeah.
In my mind, I always thought it was the opposite. But maybe
Yeah.
it's because I'm a lyrics person a little bit, and so
Like
I
lyrics
feel like the
first,
lyrics
yeah.
drive it first, and then you would write like music to accompany it.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
surprising.
music and the lyrics are so like, there's such a mood and a tone in the lyrics. It's just kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figure he has lyrics in his. That's what I was trying to figure out. Does he have the lyrics like already written, and then he hears the music that people come up with, and then he says, okay, well these lyrics will work for this music, or is he
Yeah.
writing the lyrics once he hears the music?
I think it's a
I think-
blend.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a little bit of both. Because
Yeah.
he's mentioned before that he has lyrics that he put to a song that he had already written, but then he also mentioned that he writes in the studio once everything's done, or he'll hear something and then he'll write lyrics to it. So I think it's just
Yeah.
kind of a mixture of what he feels. So, but yeah, I always
It's like
thought he
having
had
a
lyrics
palette.
first and then he went from there, but I guess
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, and I think the like kind of the mumble track is like a big deal, where you kind of are just mumbling the melody over like while you're, so the band kind of knows the flow of the melody and stuff, but then you can go back and kind of fine tune actual words and stuff. You listen to those demos and stuff. He's definitely, I think a lot of those they don't even have any vocals on it, but he's probably pulling the mumble track out because it probably sounds really ridiculous, But you can kind of, I mean. A lot of people do that when they record. They're kind of just, and it's just like then you can either subconsciously pull lyrics from that or just clean slate it and really dig in. Because, yeah, it's so weird with an album like that in particular where the lyrics are so, like, a huge part of it and such the beauty of the whole thing, where it's like, how is that not just like the whole anchor to the song is like prayers for rain, it's like that you would think that that's where it all started, it's like, but who knows? Strange. It's a hard process.
I really liked Chaz's like kind of analysis of the album. I think you had a second Disintegration podcast not too long ago.
Yeah.
Just about how every song is about like disintegration, even love songs.
Yeah.
And that really rang true for me because like even though I love that song, it's always been kind of weird for me that like people like use it at weddings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it has a dark side to it a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that analysis.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Just Like Heaven also. That it's a pretty dark song, like behind the catchy pop sensibility of it all. But that's kind of one of the reasons why I like them so much. So.
They can do that. They can do these like downer lyrics with this pop music. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an art. Like it's a skill.
Right. And even something like Friday I'm in Love, they still managed to make it fairly weird in pop song, when you compare it to other like just cheesy pop song. They just like all kinds of hoots and hollers and weird shit. It's just like what?
I think that's why I like the pop songs, even because like take a song like "Let's Go to Bed," total pop song, and I can only imagine if I was like some like goth kid in 1982, and then that song came out, and it would have been I probably would have been my Wild Mood Swings or something like that.
Totally.
But even when you listen to the lyrics are so wacky. And they don't make a lot of sense, or they're so drugged out, or there's something. It's like even though it's this pop song, like the lyrics are so wacky, it's so cool. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah,
I think there's like brilliance in like a pop song with a subversive message, like that. It takes you a long time to go, wait, what was that?
Right.
Or like a lot of the like love song I didn't know was a sad song till like. It was like in my late 20s or some shit. Like, like I think that shows, you have to take a minute.
Listen to, and a huge part, like we've said a billion times, where it's like, well, whatever you bring into it is part of the charm too. It's like if you want it to be miserable, you can make it miserable,
right.
or if you want it to be your happy wedding song, then go for it. It works either way. So that's just.
Can I ask Chaz like a collection question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So over the years, like I've always just like anytime I've been in a record store, I buy like whatever I can buy, but I haven't actually like really tried to like seek out things like on eBay and Discogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always just whenever I would go to a record store and like growing up in Berkeley, it was a pretty reasonable place to get stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of bootlegs and stuff that I collected over the years, but it's always been like in the back of my mind that I want to get like the 45s and stuff like that. Like they just weren't available. I mean, I was looking at now that everything's on the internet. Like sometimes they weren't even like the early ones weren't even released in the U.S. I think some of them. Yeah,
they weren't. Yeah.
So recently I've been like I had to take a break from it because I was getting a little obsessive. But my boyfriend was like, "There's another package for you.
It's a collection,
record.
right?
Do you even have a record player?" And I said, "Well, I have a record player, but it's in the garage." But I finally did get my record player out. So I've been like, buying some of the stuff that I've been wanting since I was a teenager. But I'm curious about how to know if something's real.
If something's
not fake.
real.
So I bought a Three Imaginary Boys,
Okay.
and I think I bought it on eBay from some guy in Israel or something like that. I can't remember right now, like a DJ type person. It is too pristine. I can't believe that this thing survived.
Huh.
Um,
Like,
since 1979. I mean, or whatever. In such a condition. I mean, it's like not even like a scuff. And I've looked, I've gone on. There's you can get all the details on Discogs about like
Yeah.
all the things that are
Yeah.
etched in and all that kind of stuff. And I guess there's a Cure. I forget what it's called right now. There's a fan site like CureAlbums.com or something like that.
yeah.
And I've several times I've gone back and I've said and I've tried to look at all it. And it has all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
but I can't believe it's lasted 4 decades.
It happens.
What
It happens sometimes.
what country is it from? Do you know? Is it UK or is it
It's
like?
the UK.
Huh. Like, was it? It wasn't in shrink wrap or anything, was it? I know you can.
I think it was like no, it wasn't in shrink wrap.
Okay.
I mean, it came in I think they probably had where they had something what they had stored it in. But
Does
not
it
in a shrink
smell
wrap.
old?
Kinda,
like-
yeah. Yeah, I know. I
Okay.
remember I was reading online. People were like, you have to smell it.
Yeah, because there's like glues
I
and
smelled it and it smells older to me, but
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
not an expert in this.
But there's like glues that age and dust. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
it could
smell that
it,
stuff.
it could be a dead stock copy that just kind of like sat in a box and didn't go anywhere,
Right.
or somebody could have just bought it and just put it on a shelf and it didn't move.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard. Every once in a while, run across a record that's really old, but it's like in amazing condition.
Yeah.
But it's really really rare to come across, like especially like that with like 40 years, where it hadn't been touched. But
Often do people do fakes? I'm not talking like bootlegs, like they're trying to fake like a real release.
now it's really hard, just because there's not a lot of pressing plants that do it anymore. Like back in the 80s, you were able to do that like a lot with like live albums. But there's so many hoops you got to jump through to get it pressed to begin with, that I don't believe that anybody would be able to bootleg that as of like now. Maybe back in the 80s possibly, but I haven't seen anything. The only thing I've ever seen was I think Gavin, you said you had one, was what was that bootleg 7-inch you said you had? It just has Robert's face.
Yeah, it was like jumping
yeah.
someone else's train, but then it was like pretty obvious. You pull it out and it had like a picture of him from the top, like
Yeah.
on the thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
This
But
even has that extra insert, like that single page insert that has like.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, if it has that, it's probably not a bootleg. If the labels are what they're supposed to be, like you
Yeah.
can just go, you can
Yeah.
just do that just by Discogs.
yeah, Discogs
Exactly,
is
that's
pretty
what I've
pretty
done,
right on.
yeah.
If all the numbers
Yeah.
and shit match up on Discogs, especially like the
Yeah.
etchings or anything like that, that's pretty. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much a
And if it-
guarantee. I'd say
and
the
if
only thing
that
to watch out
insert-
too is that they sometimes you could get like a old, like if one
Yeah.
is better condition than the other, you could have like a old sleeve, but then it's like a reissue record that somebody might have been trying to pull something, or they
Yeah.
swap them, or like, but if the actual records and all the numbers are matching up, I think you're probably pretty good. Discogs is pretty
Yeah.
solid.
Because
that
I was
way.
like, I don't know if I should count it in my collection.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, you know how many bootleg things I have? It's that's all Cure stuff. I count everything. So
Okay,
It's
even
part of- it's
I
part
mean, I
of
don't
the
mean
fun.
bootlegs of like concerts and stuff like that. I mean like
Right.
fakes of like
Yeah.
okay.
no, I count everything, because like I think of it as like somebody care. I mean, you think that somebody cared enough to make it because they're a fan of the band, and I kind of do the same thing with my shirts. So it's like, I mean, it's I don't know. I just counted it all in one, but
Morally, you have to be.
yeah, you'd think so.
Well, I have a bootleg of the VHS Cure in Japan. I bought it in some store in Berkeley. I thought it was real all this time, and then I went online, and it doesn't have the. It's missing something. I think it's missing like actual label on the cassette.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a lot easier to bootleg than
Yeah.
than a record. So, but do you have the Discogs app like on your phone or anything?
Yeah, I do. I've been
Okay.
staying away from it though. I had to mute the notifications and stuff because they were like
Yeah.
constantly sending me stuff, and I'm like, wait, I need to focus on my
Yeah.
trip. When I get back from my trip, I'll pick it up again.
Yeah, I take that with
Sounds
me.
dangerous.
But I know you mean about the sealed thing because when I first started listening to The Cure, I had a record player and I bought everything on record until Disintegration. That's when I got a CD player. But
Sell out.
I never had 17 seconds on record because my friend at the time, she's like, I'm in the record store and my dad's gonna buy me a record. Which of the Cure albums do you not have yet? And I said I didn't have 17 seconds. So all these years later, I had just a cassette copy of it, and then I bought a CD. So I actually went back and bought the U.S. Version of it, and it came in shrink wrap. Because somebody said it was what did you call it earlier? It was like just one of those cases where it's like sitting in the back of a record store or something
dead stock.
like.
Yeah. It's just somebody could have bought a box of them and then they were just sitting on them and then they just sold them. So I mean it's a cool idea if you ever run into it. I ran into that a couple times with some Cure stuff because there was a guy that owned a record store in northern Pennsylvania during the 80s and the 90s, and whenever he got records in, he would always buy one for himself and then buy one just to hold, and he just had it on a shelf. And this guy that owns a record store up in the Lehigh Valley, he bought his whole collection from him. So I went in there and there were just like pristine copies of like pretty much any record you could think of from like 1980 to like probably about like 94. So a lot of the stuff that was going out of print, like they weren't making records anymore, they were like pristine copies of those. So it does happen. But I use the Discogs app all the time because it has a barcode scan on it, and so I have my whole collection on Discogs, so I can scan that and it tells me if I have it or not. So I do that. It's better than calling my wife at home saying, "Can you look at my records and tell me if I have like the Indonesian press of this record or whatever." So
yeah, I started doing that as well. I made one phone. Then I put them
Rock bottom.
So when they have the intervention for you.
you have 7 copies of this record. Which one is which? Like, this is ridiculous. So yeah, I've been there.
I haven't gotten into the trying to buy all the different pressings of them. My goal right now, and it's probably just because
That's crazy.
I want to just get all U.S. and UK pressings. That's what I want.
Yeah. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that's probably. And I'm telling myself that's where I'll stop.
It's pretty impossible. It's pretty impossible to get the entire catalog for every country. I mean, a lot of the problem is that I don't live in Europe, and that's where a lot of the stuff was pressed.
Right.
So it's really hard to get a hold of that stuff. And then there's this one person I follow on Instagram I think she's from Spain or France, and she has a product collection that's like 2 or 3 times bigger than mine. And she just posts it all the time, but she can get all that stuff easier than I can. So but it's
like one U.S. pressing for all of the U.S., maybe a Canada pressing.
Yeah,
all the different countries of Europe have. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Like I went to Berlin once and went to a flea market, and this dude had all these records out, and there's a bunch of 7-inches, and it was just like the most intense. Like I just had this huge stack, and then I had to stop once logistics came into play. Like, how can I safely manage this back home? Like we have the rest of our vacation to finish, and like a set amount of money, and like.
That's why you bring an extra suitcase for records, because I've done that before.
But like you were saying in Europe, man, just like if you're in Europe, like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if I ever went, I went to Ireland, and when I went to Ireland, I think I went to 2 record stores. I didn't really see anything, but I mean, if I ever went on a trip that was like something that you're doing, I would make a point to like part of my plan is to go to and then just figure out what the best record stores are in those cities. And just go and just pack an extra suitcase.
I gotta do that. Another thing I gotta plan for.
And also, when you're over there in pursuit of records, look up flea markets.
Oh, absolutely.
And junk shops. and like thrift stores.
Yeah.
Like that's where you can easily find some gems.
Another sign of how broke I was in 1995. I always wanted the oh shoot, now I'm forgetting what it's called. The combo album of 17 Seconds and Faith.
Yeah, the happily ever after.
Happily Ever After. So I'd
Yeah.
always like I'd read about it, you know, in like their biographies, and I'd never
Yeah.
seen it in the record stores. I saw it in a flea market in like 1995, 96, I think it
Oh,
was.
those are the best
and I was
ones.
like, oh my god, it's $20. I can't afford it, and I had to.
Yeah.
But now I have it. I bought it, but what I remember was like, oh my god, I found it. That's the one they've been talking about in the books.
I had
And
the
I
flip
don't
side of
know.
that where forever I couldn't get like just a good used copy for a decent price of Faith in 17 Seconds, and I had stumbled across like numerous weird versions of that, like or I found it where it was just like a record store that I DJ'd at in college had one that they were just giving away, and I was like, oh, I'll take it. It was all like marked up and stuff, and found one that was missing one of the two records. I had like three kind of like, you know, piece that Mr. Potato Head versions of that album, but I couldn't get the other one. So strange how that works.
I owned that before I actually owned 17 Seconds or Faith.
Yeah, that's what I was
yeah.
saying too. Yeah.
So, and then I actually debated with myself when I ran into those two other albums for the first time. I was like, well, I already have,
Right.
you know, I already have this.
Technically.
Do I really need the other two? And then I was like, yeah, so I just bought them all. But yeah, and I haven't stopped, so it's just so.
I have that regret for the concert record. I don't actually own the concert record. That's one of the ones.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a teenager, it was in the stores, and I wouldn't buy it because I was holding out for the cassette version because I had read that I had read that the cassette version had this extra B-side,
Hell yeah.
and it was only available as import. I don't know if the concert record, the vinyl, was import also, but I definitely saw it in the record stores in Berkeley, and I was like, no, I'm gonna hold out for the cassette. And I looked for that cassette for several years, and then I finally found it, and I bought it. So I never bought the vinyl.
Yeah.
I have a
We talked-
warped copy of that on vinyl, and I bought it knowing it was warped. It was like $2, like a long time ago. But
I've
I
done that
thought it
before,
warped,
too.
you know. But I was like, whatever.
You kind of hope that you can save it some way with like all the tricks that people say you
I've-
can do, but it never works.
No,
I've never saved the record.
It's just
Yeah.
So,
it's just there.
yeah.
You know.
You see how the cover, you know, that's kind of
Once
what's
it's warped,
$2.
it's done. You can't get that back into shape. You know, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Does that concert cassette you have? What B-sides are on that? Because I don't think I own that one actually.
Sounds dope. I want it on cassette.
It's a. I just remember it has Heroin Face. That's all I'm remembering right now.
Do you have it, Gavin?
Gavin is digging through the archives, the holy hour.
Yeah, I'm pulling it off my wall
podcast
right now.
archives.
Yeah, it's got a Heroin Face, Boys Don't Cry, Subway Song, At Night in Your House, which are all like live ones, Drowning
Yeah.
Man, Other Voices, Funeral Party, All Mine, and Forever. So,
Okay.
Yeah,
So
a
it's-
lot of those like
okay.
crazy, rambly live ones, you know. So that,
What a
Yeah.
lineup.
I thought maybe it was like the second part, like that excerpt thing that they did. The
yeah, because
accompany.
that had like a few songs that aren't
Yeah.
on the.
I think it only
from the
had like
live stuff.
2 or 4.
Yeah, what is
songs
the
on it.
deal with that excerpt one? I'm sorry for totally geeking out over this.
No,
No,
it's
that's
cool.
why
So I recently bought that.
Yeah.
But it looks like it was only released in like Germany or something like that.
Yeah, it was only released in a couple places. It's kind of hard to find, but I mean, if you live in those areas, it's probably not. But
Yeah, I ordered that
yeah.
one.
yeah, I've had that for a while. It's not anything. I mean, Concert wasn't really a great live album. It wasn't like in Orange or anything, but it's pretty good. It's decent. So
Alright.
it is what it is. So yeah. But yeah, I would recommend you buy it if you said you just got it.
I have excerpt. I bought it before I had to take a break from my.
Okay.
But even some of this stuff was, when I'm thinking back to it, it was hard to get. I lived in a town that was, had lots of record stores, that had lots of like people interested in alternative music, and still some of these things are
Right.
hard to find. I remember looking like my first copy of the VHS for Staring at the Sea or whatever. Like it was like a copy of a copy, of a copy or something like that. And it wasn't until I was in college that I actually found it. I think like in the '90s, like I found it actually in a record store and bought it, maybe a used version. And I have a used version of Cure in Orange. They were. I forget sometimes. Like now I could just go online, and if I willing to pay enough money, I can order a lot of stuff. But back it was smart. It was a hunt.
Yeah.
It was definitely a hunt. I mean, I still to this day, whenever I go in a record store or music store, I go to the Cure section.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like a beeline. I'm like, where are the C's? Where are the C's? Because that's just basically what I've been doing since I was like 13 years old. Just like go and see what they have. Because like when I first liked them, I would save up my babysitting money and then go to the place for the record stores. And it wasn't even that they had the full collection. I had to see what they had. And then I would buy what they had,
I kind of distinctly remember like the sadness of the day when I'd been doing that so long, where it was like to the point where I was like, they're not gonna have, I mean, you can still always hope for like a bootleg, but you kind of just know that there's never gonna be anything new in there, because there was like that era for a while, like when I was like backtracking through the back catalog where it was all like, oh, the glove, what is this? Or, like you had kind of a faint idea of something or concert, you'd seen the pictures in the book or whatever, but, you didn't really have everything. And then that moment when the history and your knowledge kind of caught up with it, and I was just like, this is kind of sad. There's never going to be anything new.
Right.
You're like, interview picture disc, great. Yeah.
And I always felt like the record stores I went to a lot, it was always it was literally the same copies in there that I would like, shamefully walk to and flip through. Yeah. I've touched the same ones like 30 times.
And you kind of want to just buy them to free them, like you could take them home, like give them a good home still,
But nowadays when I go in there, I'm always disappointed. I think because vinyl's made such a resurgence, like most of the time all I find are the re-releases or the store day stuff. And I'll ask I'll always ask. And they're like, no, that stuff goes so fast.
Yeah.
Like people bring in old stuff. I found every once in a while I find an old thing, but before they've actually sorted it, I'll find some Cure stuff. But they said Cure's really popular and it goes really fast.
Yeah, that happens all the time. But like now, like you have the availability to buy anything online. Like especially with Discogs, and I'll refuse to do it a lot of the times. I don't know why. Like
it's not as fun.
Yeah,
it really is
cheating a bit.
I don't like it.
I have that. I wonder that too. Like because I did so many years, just kind of like. I mean, it was a little bit more when I would happen to be in a record store, but like there's like a hunt, right? And now with Discogs, it feels like.
It's an adrenaline
if you have endless money in theory, like you could get pretty much anything you wanted.
Yeah.
And I wonder if is that cheating a little bit? I don't know.
It feels it to me. It's up to the individual, man. Like people just buy shit to buy shit and they never do anything with it. Like just buy a bunch of records off the internet or wherever. Just
I have a collection
put them on a shelf and never listen to them, like never touch them. Like I like to find it, touch it, get my hands on it, and like makes it more precious.
I liked it, but there's something the stuff that I've been ordering from Discogs in the last 6 months or something. I do like that it seems to come from kind of individual sellers, and like it'll come from Greece or something like that, and it'll be like this hand wrapped package that's got like covered in stamps from Greece or something that they use. So I don't know. There's something about that I do like.
I guess I could see there's a backstory to it.
Yeah,
still,
exactly. There's a little backstory there.
And there's that personal connection. I can see that.
But it's not. I agree. It's not the same as going into a record store and.
I mean, the thing that I love is that I can probably go through my whole career collection right now and tell you where I bought that record, and about like when I did. So there's it's a history for myself. More than anything. Like I there's times where I remember when my father died, the first thing I wanted to do was go to the record store because I felt some like solace there, and so I know every single record I bought when I went there. And there were when 9/11 happened, the first thing I did afterwards, I drove to the record store and spent the afternoon there. So, you know, it's just like it's like a comfort that I feel when I go into the store, and there's definitely an adrenaline rush just going through everything. Like I'll go through all the new releases that they have there, like the used ones, because maybe something got stuck in there.
New releases are the best.
Yeah, like they just come in and they're just piled there in the front when you come in, and you go through them all, you know, and then I go through like the rare boxes if they have that, because maybe something's in there, and you know, go through the dollar bins because you might find something, you know.
Wow.
So it's just. You know, I could spend hours in like even a shitty record store. When Gavin and I went to New York, that's pretty much all we did. We went to, how many record stores did we go to? 3, 4?
Yeah, at least 4, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then we got pizza and then went to the bar and hung out with everybody. So
Sounds like a good day,
how is
man.
that?
The other
like,
greatest place.
So you hung out with like the Cure fans before the.
Yeah.
You guys are like the first people I've ever like kind of talked to
Yeah.
about Cure stuff that I would just meet like through the you know, love of the band. I'm trying to contemplate whether I want to do any of these meetup things.
Yeah,
It was
I thought
interesting.
It was cool. Yeah, it was definitely. Everyone was a bit standoffish till we got a few drinks in us, I think.
Okay.
I don't know, but it was like, yeah. But I thought it was really cool, just because, you know, we had kind of encountered through like Instagram names and stuff, and it was definitely weird in that aspect too, because we would recognize people, but I'm like, should I just like start talking to them? I mean, I kind of know who they are, but at the same time, you don't.
Hey, it's
you
me,
know?
Gav, from the
Yeah, you're like, who, what, you know? And it's just, so I mean, it's definitely weird, I thought, and I'm just socially kind of awkward anyway, you know. But it's like, but it was cool. I was glad we did it for sure. And
Okay.
what do you think, Chaz? Was it?
it was, you know, it was interesting just because being together with them and then sharing what we thought about after everything went down. So it was interesting, like before everybody was guessing what it would be and when they would play and what they would play, and then afterwards you're just kind of talking about what just happened. So it was worth it. I mean, I thought we had a good time, and I'm glad that we didn't record while we were there.
Yeah, yeah. It was like crossed my mind. I was like, should we get all this and get reactions? And then it's just like, no way. It's just like so much funner to absorb it all, you know, and take in the moment instead of cramming a microphone in somebody's face and telling them, say something, because we're all pretty much saying the same thing, you know. But it was
yeah, if you're going overseas, that would be awesome. Just like, I don't know, just you get a different different cultures and different everything. That would just be
really cool.
I've seen something posted for Dublin, for Malahide, something. Maybe I'll try it out. I'll drag my sister to it. She'll probably hate it. I'm actually kind of stressed about it because, like, I'm the super fan, and she's the younger sister who just, like, doesn't know. You know, she once told me, she's like, I don't know if I objectively like The Cure because it's just all I remember.
I think I like her.
So she obviously is not. I mean, she likes. I think she mainly just knows like their hits, and
It's funny.
yeah. So I warned her. I said, I think we're in like, I think I'm in like the closer section in Malahide, but it's still like a general admission front area. I said like,
cool.
I'm gonna try to get up and like, you know, deal with my social anxiety or whatever, or like being grossed out by people like being pushed up against me. If you can't handle it, then we'll go our separate ways, and I'll meet you after the concert.
Like later.
Yeah, that's tough.
Life experiences, you know.
Yeah, but then I said, oh, and she's like, I think I'll go to one concert. So she was like, I don't think I need to go to the other one.
Two's a lot.
And then my mom asked me yesterday, I was talking to her, she's like, she was trying to ask me whether I liked them so much just because I was a teenager when I started listening to them or not. What it is, like, do I still objectively like? And I struggle with that sometimes because.
Oh yeah.
But I think, you know, everybody likes the music that they discovered when their brain was developing. You know what I mean? Like there's something about that connection.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
I
completely
always just think I found them at the
agree.
right time. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I always wonder how much of that too is the sentimental value, or if it's just, you know, do you feel like a lot's changed other than that, even like what you love about them aside from the initial attraction?
Well, yes and no. So it depends on how initial you mean, right? So like
Yeah.
when I the songs that I first heard that got me into the Cure, like I definitely have a different relationship with them. So
Yeah.
I was 12, almost 13, and I heard like "Why Can't I Be You," and I'm like, that's a cool song, and so that's what made me buy "Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me."
Right.
"Why Can't I Be You" is probably is nowhere near the top of
Yeah.
my.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was like the first 6 months versus. Okay, how am I gonna explain this? So like it was like my gateway song.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
"Why Can't I
Yeah.
Be You," and I think I hit it at the right time. Like I was 12, almost 13. I wasn't interested in listening to Madonna anymore. Before that, my favorite band was Thompson Twins. I actually saw the Thompson Twins for my, I think, 11th birthday with
Awesome.
OMD. So this
Yeah.
was kind of like my entrance into like darker music. And so I remember as I discovered their discography, I don't know, I think it was like I was discovering it as I was becoming a teenager, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of developing with that discovery. And I remember when I first listened to Pornography, I was probably in 8th grade. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is dark. I was like kind of scared to go there almost.
Yeah.
I love it now. So I would say if you exclude those first 6 months, maybe when I was like
Yeah.
discovering their records, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm 44 years old now, right? So from that, like when I was 13 plus a few months till now, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
I do wonder about like maybe I just discovered when I was a teenager, but I do like Blood Flowers a lot.
Yeah.
And I was in my mid-20s when that came out. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Makes sense. I think I'm pretty much in the same boat. Yeah, it's like those initial hooks, and then you kind of dig in, and then you're just like kind of on there for the whole ride. That's what I loved about like all the disintegration rehashing. It was like I probably like just wondering like if I'd recorded myself talking for hours on end back then. How different it would have been, and I don't know if it really would have been, which is kind of sad but kind of sweet at the same time too. It's like I don't know. It was such like I think like musically maybe my like love and shit has changed more. Like as a respect for the music side of it all, and just seeing the structures and analyzing that a bit more as the years have gone on, and diving into music a bit more, where I can see what type of song they were doing it with their guitars a bit more as opposed to the lyrics, and throwing everything on the lyrics and the mood. As a kid I definitely did that more, but I don't know. Yeah,
I always
Actually,
liked that.
I actually remember the first moment when I was like, this is going to be my favorite band.
yeah.
fuck yeah.
I had heard "Why Can't I Be You," and then I heard on the radio in like 1987, and then I was hanging out with a friend who's like a little bit older, and she had a friend come over, and she played a mixtape, and Love Cats came on, and of course the voice is so recognizable. I'm like, oh, that's that band, The Cure. I really like them. And I had heard of their name before because I said I was into the Thompson Twins. So in like 6th grade, I had bought one of those like teeny bopper magazines. I think Thompson Twins were on the cover, and
Hell yeah.
also in there was this weird guy with a green face. And I didn't really pay much attention to it, except that there was this weird guy with a green face. This is 1985 or 86 or something like that. But I remember the name, right? And so because I had placed a name to "Why Can't I Be You," and then I recognized the Love Cast. I was like, oh, and that's the guy with the green face.
so many wins already.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's it. I
Tiger
really
Beat.
like this. And then I asked for the record for my 13th birthday, and that was the end of the story.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
It's funny how it spirals and just sticks.
But it's like I knew. It's really weird. It's like I remember it. I can still imagine sitting on the couch and going like something clicked. I'm like, this is my new band. This is it.
I felt like I had that revelation. I was like at my grandparents' house and couldn't sleep when I was just listening to Standing on the Beach all the way through. And it must have been around like 87, 88 or something. And I was just laying there in bed, and like as it just ended, I was like, I love like every one of these damn songs, and it was just like it's like this is
Yeah.
scary. It was almost like oh no, I've fallen too much in love.
I'm
I'm so
my life is
vulnerable.
different now. Like
Yeah,
It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love stumbling into things like that. I'm like, what? Like, what is this? No one told it. I kind of get upset. Like, no, why did no one?
Yeah.
No one told me about this. Like, you assholes, you let me down.
It doesn't happen as much as you get older, unfortunately. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe we should let you go there. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep you all night. I guess you got a few hours on us, but
Yeah, it's pretty late for you guys, I guess, depending on.
Hell
hey,
no.
well
Fucking
thanks.
bad boys up all night.
Yeah, Donald's just getting warmed up, man. But,
I've only heard, I think, maybe 2 or 3 bong hits.
yeah,
How many have there really been?
Maybe like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay, so I missed
And
a
that's
few.
And I smoked a little.
joint, a little bit. So
I just love the podcast. You hear like the bubbles and
yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. It's so stupid. It's funny. I don't even like want to do this many bong hits, but I do it for the craft, for the art. You know, I do it for the fans.
You can't disappoint the fans.
Yeah, and,
I don't know why I do it.
Got
It
an
just
image
makes me
to
laugh.
live up to, right? You can't-
And the only reason I do it just makes me laugh. It's funny to me. Like, just get really dumb and high and record myself.
well, the best part is that nobody like talked about it. I don't know. It's only maybe recently that you guys have made like a side mention about the bong hits. It's just like kind of like here, and I'm like, is he taking a hit off a bong during this podcast?
That explains so much.
It's ridiculous. But
Yeah. Well,
it makes
thank
me
you
feel
for putting
alive.
up with us.
well, thank you for paying attention. It
Yeah,
means a lot to me.
noticing the subtle details.
Nothing the subtleties.
Or not so subtle details. Or like shouting over the coughing. The thing about Strange Attraction is But,
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
I
nice talking
really,
to
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you as well.
and safe travels and on your adventures.
Hell
and all
yeah.
that business.
Yeah, and I'll be in touch like when
Report
I get
back.
when I get back from Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely,
coming up,
report
right?
back.
Just a
Yeah,
few
it's coming
weeks
up.
now. So, sheesh.
All right,
Thanks
take care.
again, and
Oh.
easy.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
All right, first mystery caller. Someone we already kind of knew, so that was nice and
That was fantastic.
yeah. Well,
Swept away.
Hey there, this is Gavin from the Holy Hour podcast. How's it going?
Hey Gavin, what's up? This is Dustin Wright from Oxford, Mississippi.
Awesome. Hold on, let me merge the other fellas in here. And you said Dustin, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Cool. Hold on, and I'll say our proper intros.
Yeah. Just slowly
Can
pull
you-
can you hear
your
me?
pockets out.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah. How's it going, everybody?
Hey,
What's
what's up?
up?
Hey, this is Dustin.
Hey, what's up,
Dustin?
You doing good? You said you're in Mississippi?
Yeah, I live in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm driving back from Memphis right now, so I don't know if you can hear the car sound.
No,
So,
that sounds pretty good. Yeah. Thanks for calling, man. Sorry we were in the middle of a call there, and I don't quite have the technology to pop back and forth. So I was like, oh no. So thanks for still being willing to be our second mystery caller of the
Yeah.
night. So
You're the
we're
second,
trying this
man.
out.
Oh, that's awesome. Are we live right now, or are y'all just going to edit it later, or what?
We'll edit it, so we're kind of recording.
You're live
but
to
not
us.
Live to
Yes,
us.
you're live to us.
As live as,
Yeah.
as we can get it.
If the conversation's good or not, you'll...
Yeah, which is good.
We have our
can-
dump button ready, so
Yeah.
So-
You better be good, Dustin.
Yeah, okay. Pressure's on. So what's up?
Hey, man, did you say you wanted to talk about the new album some, or?
Yeah, I just wanted to know what y'all thought. I mean, I am super stoked for all the stuff that's, like all the news that's coming out this year with the, talks of the new album, and then, the 30th anniversary Disintegration shows and the lineup that he's talking about curating in LA. Like
Yeah.
I'm just really excited about all the
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, it's so nice to have like a flood of relevant Cure news, where you just go for like 3 years without a word, and then it's like all of a sudden I'm like pushing podcast episodes back because I'm like, oh crap, if we don't put this one out this week, it's like actual. I never thought we would have to do that. That was kind of the premise of making the shows. Like, well, at least there's no rush to talk about any of this shit. We're talking about stuff that came out 30 years ago.
And now all this bullshit.
I know, it's exhausting, but it's very good. So making us actually work over here. But,
Someone's got jobs over here.
yeah, what the hell? But yeah, it is really exciting, and of course it's scary too, because you don't know what's really going to stick around. Is something that actually emerges, or another flood of just great Robert Smith ideas that you're like, oh boy, I hope this actually pans out. But seems pretty definite on a lot of this stuff. So I'm pretty
Yeah, I hope
psyched too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope he's not like getting ahead of himself. Like he's just like he started one thing and then he just can't stop. He just like scheduling more and more stuff.
No, I think
Yeah.
he's definite. This is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
I just don't know when or if it's going to be any good.
Yeah.
Right.
which is
Especially as far as the album, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
really liked 413. I mean, we're going to get into that later, but
Yeah.
I liked it. But now, Pearl's not in the band anymore, so you kind of have that creative influence out of it. So now you're wondering what Reeves brings to the table, if anything, which can be a little scary because he doesn't really have a history with the band. I mean, he's got a history with Bowie and stuff, but I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to come out of that. So it's kind of
The
it's kind of
musicianship is there, but the relationship isn't.
yeah. But
Well-
I mean, Robert loves him from
Yeah,
every
they're-
account, but I don't, they really haven't written music together other than what song did they do together? Was it wrong? It wasn't
Wrong number. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And the and the Kogasm song though, signed from God, so that's cool. The one for Orgasmo soundtrack. So,
Was not starting off on the right foot.
so what's there to worry about? But yeah, in one of those interviews, he said that, right, where he was talking about the new songs. He was liking them because it was giving Reeves a chance to kind of cut loose a bit more and to write songs based around his playing, which they had never done. So who
But-
knows what that means, though.
You're kind of hoping for like a darker tone, which is what he's going for. But I mean,
Yeah.
I look at that guy and I hear his music and I don't really feel that,
That darker tone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
Yeah, well, Roger, I can't remember where I saw it, but Roger was talking about how on 413 they had a whole nother album length of material that
Yep.
was like
Yeah.
the darker side of 413. So like,
Yeah.
what I'm wondering is it he says it's pretty like dreary already. Robert did. Like, I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it's still gonna be like. And then Roger also said that they have like 2 albums worth already for the new stuff. So like, is it gonna be
Yeah.
a double album or is it gonna
Kinda
be just
scary.
one chunk?
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
I think it would be more. It might be another 413 situation where they have a ton of music written, but they don't have enough time to get all the lyrics done and all the everything that goes into it, that they just cut it down to a 10 song or 12 song album.
Yeah.
So
And then have a shit ton of B-sides.
not even that, just it's shit that's just gonna sit on a shelf that you're never gonna hear. You're never gonna until God forbid Robert dies. I don't think you're gonna hear any of that stuff, and then it's
Right.
gonna be like that Prince shit, where
Right.
everything starts flowing out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's all depending on their. Well, I say their, but I mean more like Robert's motivation and drive of how much he wants to get done before the deadline to get it released. Because I'm sure there's a deadline, if they're
Yeah.
working with Geffen or whatever. I'm sure there's some sort of tentative deadline that they're working with. So, but I from my understanding, they're in the studio still rehearsing and putting the album together.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, so pretty
we're
cool.
We'll find out.
Man.
So.
Do you have a
Roger said they were still doing like lyrics mainly. Still got to get the words, which is a big part. But
that's what
Which
you're
is-
waiting on for 413 too. Is the
Yeah.
lyrics,
and then you still
So-
gotta mix it pretty much after the lyrics, so that's where the
Yeah.
part where I'm like, this is gonna stretch out for a while still, It's like hopefully they won't turn it into a wild mood swing situation where it's like 4 years from now. But
that's another question I had. Like, if there is 2 albums worth, is it going to be another wild mood swing situation? Which personally, I'm a huge wild mood swing fan, but
right on.
it's not exactly like coherent. So is
Yeah.
this one going to be all over the place, or is there a through line? Like, is it all doom and gloom? Is there going to be some cohesiveness to it?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I would.
But if they're talking about doing longer songs on this one, so I think it's like some doom and gloom shit.
Yeah, and like epic
Yeah.
and dark keeps coming up. So
Yeah.
it sounds like he's turned 60, so he's back on that again. I'm
Yeah.
sure where he's coming into a new age bracket. So there's got to be some. I would think that they're always so good, usually, of keeping that atmosphere and mood to a certain album for better and worse. But
he
don't
said
know.
he said in the last interview that he had them all in the studio during winter, and just to set the stage, and like he tried to bring as much like cold mood into the recording studio as he could for this album. So
Nice.
just hopefully he doesn't bring Ross
Yeah.
Robertson in with him.
Yeah.
So.
Everyone except you, sir. Could you please?
Yeah.
Could you please wait outside? But,
So.
do you have like a favorite era, Dustin? Of like what would you like to see them tap back into for this new album? Are you a fan of one era versus another?
I mean, personally, I can't. I don't like to pick favorites, but I mean, I like all of their stuff. I mean, like it's to the level where like I can't throw anything out. Like
Yeah.
say maybe I don't know. I mean, I think Disintegration is like obviously the masterpiece,
Yeah.
and for me is like Wish, but then I have to say like the new stuff I've been so into lately. Like I mean, personally, I love like the the darker stuff off of Wild Mood Swings, and then even like the self-titled. Like I'm really into that kind of stuff right now. So like
Cool.
if he could, if it is all doom and gloom, I want it to like sort of resemble Disintegration or Blood Flowers, but
Yeah.
I really love like the darker side of songs like One or Us or Them off the self-titled. Like if he could happen, because like I mean he's got to have something to say about.
I think you're onto something. Like I think that's probably what it's gonna end up being. It's kind of what you just described,
Because you
Makes
can't
sense.
still tap into the darker stuff and still have it rock, and you can still tap it in, and even like Disintegration, you have like catchy guitar parts all through these really heavy, sad songs.
Well,
Dustin,
let me.
I have a question for you,
So-
Dustin,
good.
real quick.
Yeah.
Do you like stuff off of Kiss Me, like the more passionate, like kind of lovey songs, like the sweeter songs, not the dark stuff, but the lighter stuff off of that?
I love it all, to be honest. I mean, I really love songs like the first song, "The Kiss" or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that is just so like rocking and just
You
like
like more of
eerie
that.
almost. Like how I like it, but then like I'm all for the love songs and the fun stuff. Like I mean, for anybody, like you can find stuff that you like, but I think for me, it's like I love it all. Like
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what he does. Honestly, like I'm still gonna like it.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
If it's silly, it's cool. If it's
Yeah.
rocking, it's rocking. Yeah.
So Dustin, you're from the South, as I can tell from your voice and just what you said before. But how did you get into the Cure? Like, where did that come from? I mean, it's how old are you to begin with?
I am 22 years old. I
Oh, okay.
graduated yeah, just graduated undergraduate
Oh,
Saturday
congratulations.
actually.
Fuck yeah.
Cool.
So,
Congrats.
Get it.
but so I mean, like when I was in like high school and like early college, I just really knew the hits kind of, and hadn't
Yeah.
really. I mean, like I knew maybe Friday I'm in Love and Love Song, and that's as
Right.
far as I ventured into it. And then one of my bands decided to cover love songs, so I had to learn that. And
Dude.
then I
Hell
fell in
yeah.
love. Yeah, so I fell in love with like the bass playing aspect, and then
Playing
I started
bass.
listening. Yeah, and
Fuck yeah.
I started listening to Disintegration all the way through. And at first, I guess I probably wasn't in the right place because it was just like I was listening to it and I was like, God damn, like this is too sad. Like I can't listen to this. Yeah, and so I put it on the shelf for a while, and I don't know, maybe something came back up on like Spotify or something, and I got into like Wish, and that was really my entry point, like the like
Fucking
rocking
Spotify, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm sort of a a newer fan, but
Yeah.
I'm like at this point in my life, like I am like hardcore, like 100%. They're my favorite band. Like
Fuck
That's
yeah.
awesome.
listen to them every day. I can't get away from it. But yeah, Wish was kind of my entry point, and like just the rockingness of that album,
Yeah.
and like I guess the alternative aspect kind of drew me in, and then I started maybe like going backwards, and
Yeah.
so Disintegration, Kiss
It's a
Me,
journey,
Head on the
man.
Door. Yeah. Also, not even gonna lie, I had listened to Wish and Disintegration, that stuff, but then have y'all checked out the new It movie?
We talked about that on a past episode where we covered all the times that the Cure's been used in movies and some TV shows. So yeah, we did that right after that came out because I brought it up to Gavin
About
how
Right.
yeah, that was an awesome scene.
Yeah, so I mean, when that scene came on, like, and the song came on, I knew instantly. I was like, "This is a Cure," but I didn't know what song and I didn't know what album.
Uh-huh.
Like even before the lyrics came in, I knew it was them. I was like, "This has to be the Cure." And then
Yeah.
the song, I mean, they play pretty much the whole song, and I was like, "Damn!" Like I gotta find what album this is on. So yeah, I found the Head on the Door, and then I was like, "Man, this '80s stuff is really weird." And so I started listening to Head on the Door and what is it, Tops, and it was just like, to me, that stuff is so interesting because it's like the new age. I mean, the new wave side
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Cure, and it's so interesting because like if you're just listening to like the hits or like Disintegration, Wish, and that kind of stuff, you might miss like the oddities. I guess for newer fans, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really interesting side, that like
This-
the '80s side. But then
Yeah, the 80s new wave stuff.
yeah, so that's how I got in really hardcore, and
Dope.
then from there I just like started listening to everything and like playing albums on loop and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that idea too of like how you think more favorably of the newer albums, maybe because you got that whole lump sum, like it didn't seem like, us geezers that have been, like waiting and waiting, and then that new album
Yeah.
would come out, and we're like, well, I don't know how this compares to this and that, and it's almost
Just
like,
caught that wave at a different
yeah,
point.
maybe
It's
it seems more
interesting.
seamless if you get it all at once, and yeah, I like that. So it's pretty
Just
cool.
like learning about a Cure record from Spotify just blew my mind. Like that's amazing.
Wake up, old man.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, it's beautiful. Like, it's fucking beautiful. Like, but it's just so, I don't know, it's so foreign, but it's beautiful.
You
It's
have
a
the
journey.
world of music just at your fingertips now, and
Right, dude.
it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it really is like that. Like I'll if the new bands that I find or they'll pop up randomly. It's usually it's like after an album ends and then it goes into like that artist's radio, and then it'll
Yeah.
just play random stuff that's
Yeah.
sort of like that band. And,
Yeah.
that's how I find a lot of new bands. And,
So,
But yeah, when I got super into the Cure, like I had all of 13 whatever albums that they had. So like I just had endless stuff to dive into.
Yeah,
Kinda.
it's a lot
Yeah.
to sift back through for sure.
You haven't, like, with the Disintegration, you said that you kind of backed off of it because it was darker, and have you dove back into that at all, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I first listened to it, it was just it wasn't like the darkness was cool. Like I was already into that kind of stuff, but it was just like I don't know what it was back then. It was just like maybe like the stuff I was going through or something, but it was just like really sad, and I couldn't like put myself through it. Like it hit
No,
me.
yeah.
Too much.
It, it hit me really emotionally, and I
Mhm.
didn't want to like put myself in there, and so I
Yeah,
kind of
no, I
put
get
it on
it.
the shelf. Yeah,
Yep. You gotta save it for when you're ready.
right, exactly. And then
Totally, man.
specifically like this semester, I have just been like completely obsessed with it, and like really like found out like why it's a masterpiece. Like listening to it on repeat and getting all the way through it. Like it's easy to
Mhm.
start an album and then get busy, but like
Yeah.
starting it from start to finish, like
And have the time to like soak it in and like have the mental space to like just take it all in and appreciate it.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
It's
that's
great.
how albums are for me for sure. Like I'll kind of hone in on one album and listen to it on repeat for like a week or two, but like if it's
Yep.
just really struck me, I'll go months just
Yep.
listening
Oh, yeah,
to that
yeah.
album like
Yeah.
every day on loop. And that's the way I got with Disintegration. I could listen to it for like 3 times in a row and still be like,
Yeah.
fuck, I want to listen to it again, and then when I go
Absolutely.
off to school, it's like stuck in my head, and
I'm happy for you
Yeah,
for
man.
like that's your album right now. Where you're just like because I go through that same thing as well. Like I'll just get stuck on a record and just like listen to it like 2 or 3 times a day, And I'll listen to other stuff, but
Yeah.
I'll,
That's the one
sometimes it's back to back.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll be stuck on like a couple records for a month,
Yeah.
And I love that journey. Like I hear a million things after like the end of that month. Like I've heard a million more things than the first listen than I had. So it's a journey, man. It's dope.
Man.
yeah, and like I was saying, if you're just a couple songs in, you might miss like the really good stuff, which for me is like when the Same Deep Waters You hits, and then what's the one after or before that? What's the one before that?
Prayers for Rain, I believe. Before
Okay,
Same Deep
yeah.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah, Prayers for Rain, Same Deep Waters You, and then fucking Disintegration. Like
Yeah.
that's like the
That
best
fucks with your
3.
mind, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, seriously,
That is a flow.
That's like the best 3 back-to-back songs that could ever be to me.
Yeah.
And
Definitely no
especially-
arguments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially for me, like when I got to like Disintegration, the song, like that shit just blew my mind. Like when I really listened to it and like
It's like a
Yeah.
culmination of all that.
Yeah, like,
bundled
when I-
up, like all that tension released.
yeah, I mean it really hits you if you're
Yeah.
paying attention. And for me, like I hadn't paid enough attention, and then when I got to that point, it was like, fuck, like this is the best song that's ever written. Like,
Right.
just, yeah, it blew my fucking mind, and like I was
You had to take a knee.
yeah, I mean seriously, like,
maybe
it
drop a
was-
dab, like
Yeah.
boom.
Oh man, yeah.
That's
And
dope.
so and then I like it got stuck in my head forever, and
Yeah.
I was like practicing with my band, and I was like, guys, I think we could pull this off.
Mm.
I started learning the drum parts, and I taught my bass player. We learned.
Dustin plays the drums.
Yeah, well,
Fuck
I'm in
yeah.
the band. I play the drums, bass. so I learned the drums, and I was like, at that point, I was like, fuck, like maybe we could do this one day. And I called my bass player, and we learned the bass part. Found out it was super easy, and I was like, well, fuck, like all we need is like those other parts. Sure, it's a hard song, but like
Yeah.
it's kind of easy once you learn the parts. I mean,
It's
Yeah.
repetitive as shit, man.
yeah, I mean, well, we're not there yet. We got to get a few more members secured,
Hell yeah.
but in the future, we will
Yeah.
fucking do it. Like,
What's up?
What kind of stuff does your band normally play? Is it in the same vein as like Cure stuff, or your band?
yeah.
do you-
So same vein. I mean, like post punk, dark wave, but
Fuck
like
yeah.
very Cure inspired. I mean, like I'm really obsessed with them right now. So the stuff that I'm writing now is very much inspired by the Cure.
It's all dick deep in the Cure.
Yeah,
That's the
I mean, it's very bass heavy stuff. Like we write all the stuff on the bass first, and
Cool.
fuck yeah.
and then kind of move everything around that. And that's directly inspired by the Cure and Joy Division and all those bands.
Do you guys have any recordings online or anything where we can give a shout out where people might hear your stuff?
Man, I wish we did. So
You're getting there.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's my summer homework actually.
Fuck yeah.
We've got some studio time booked. But the
Nice.
band's called Figure of Man. We'll get some stuff out there eventually in the near future.
What's y'all's name?
Figure of Man.
Figure
Figure
of
of
man.
man. All right.
Figure, yeah. But yeah,
Dope.
we've got some summer studio time booked, and it's
Good, dude.
yeah. The stuff
Good
for
for
right
you.
now sounds very much like the newer Cure stuff, like some of the stuff off Law Mood Swings and
Oh,
self-titled stuff like
Awesome.
that.
Do you
But,
sing too?
yeah, so right now I'm playing drums and singing, which is a motherfucker.
Yeah, I can only imagine, dude. Fuck yeah.
Are you gonna try to see the Cure on any of this live craziness that's going on, or of the festivals, or any of the few ones that have gotten announced here in the U.S. this summer?
Austin City Limits.
Yeah, that
And
that.
yeah, so they only have 3-day tickets on sale now, but
Oh,
they
shit.
won't tell us when the 1-day tickets are available. They
Of
just say,
course.
it just says in the future, and I'm just like, well, what does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
but
They're trying to sell things. Why did they make it hard? They're trying to sell tickets.
yeah, the rest of the festival lineup is garbage, to be honest. So like, literally I just want to buy the Cure Day tickets and go see them.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna pass on that one, I think. But yeah, hopefully they'll announce some more. They'll get that actual album tour going before too long. But that's what we were griping about at the first part of this episode. Was it looks like that's getting pushed back a bit too. So who knows? But it'll happen. Like Chaz says, this one sounds
Yeah.
pretty definite. It's just a matter of when. So that'll be
Yeah.
cool. Have you
Well,
seen them in the past? Have you had a chance to see them yet?
Well, so when I initially got into them a couple of years ago, it was when they played that last U.S. tour, and they opened the tour in New Orleans.
Right.
And me and my friend were gonna go, but kind of got lazy and didn't buy tickets, and then it passed, and we didn't think much of it. But now, like looking back, I'm like, God damn, we're so stupid. We should have bought tickets.
Yeah.
Go to every concert that you want to.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, but I'm really excited for so he announced that he was gonna curate a festival in LA,
Yeah.
sort of like the Meltdown festival that he did. But I'm really curious about that because, like, he has good taste in music for sure. Like, like the Meltdown 2018, he had 9 Inch Nails and My Bloody Valentine, but he's also had bands like Interpol, I think, and he played a show, I think, or was at the same festival as the
like
Sauce Man.
Curioso,
I don't know
like
if you know
Mogwai and
what that
shit.
is. Yeah. I think they were on Meltdown. But he played a show with this band called Soft Man, and they're sort of like one of the newer post-punk bands.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting because like if he's staying current with like the scene and music as it is like today, and he's listening to like bands like Soft Moon and Interpol, like that's a great sign for me because like if he's curating a festival in LA, that's sort of like the epicenter of this whole like new wave of post punk that's going on right now. And there's so many good bands from the
Yeah.
West Coast that are popping right now. Bands
Yeah.
like Cold Cave, Soft Kill, Ritual Veil, Death Bells. Like there's a huge scene in the West Coast right now, and if he's placing the festival in LA, like
Yeah.
you know,
that
that's
could
Some of
be-
that's got to be incorporated.
yeah. I mean, if he doesn't handpick some of those LA bands, it's going that's a missed opportunity because there's so many good bands. And if he's finding bands like that, that's a really good sign for the new record because like if he's staying current with all of this new post punk stuff that's coming out right now, like I have faith that the new album's going to be really sick if it's if he's
Yeah.
paying attention to like where the music's going. That's just my own
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I
that'd
see what
be
you're saying,
great.
man.
That's, I hope so.
2019 Robert Smith, like that sounds like a great time.
Yeah. Uncle Bob still knows what's hip, man. He's got his ear to the street.
Sounds like a great time. Yeah, man.
It's gonna bring the party.
I love that. It's like a campaign slogan.
Totally.
Sounds like a good shirt idea.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Dustin.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, well, I guess we should probably wrap it up. This episode's stretching on, but can't thank you enough for making contact with us and being our second mystery
calls.
caller, man.
2 calls in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having me, guys. I love the podcast. It's a great way to get through a busy work day and have a couple laughs.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what we shoot
It's
for.
so weird that
Thanks-
people actually listen to this.
Yeah, thanks so much.
If you're as obsessed about the Cure as we are, it's kind of like that's all you want to talk about, really.
Yeah,
When you're
Cool.
knee deep in it, man, it's good to talk it out.
Yeah. Well, feel free to contribute anytime, too. If you want to track us
Absolutely.
down or just record any of your own rambling thoughts at any point, you always got a home here if you want to send it our way. So, yeah. that would be...
Send us a link of your music when you get it recorded.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
No
thank
problem.
you.
Drive safe out there.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Yeah,
Dude,
Dustin,
thanks.
man.
Good night.
Peace.
Awesome. So,
All
yeah.
right.
Mystery caller number 2, Dustin. Driving through the night. Talking to some wackadoos about the Cure. So,
Dustin got 2 bong rips, man. That guy's
yeah,
great.
that was nice.
Graduating
pretty-
college, rocking a band,
starting out a new
fucking
band,
playing bass and drums. That's what's up.
then singing at the same
Yeah,
time.
singing and playing drums. That's
like a-
hard.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
especially if he's gonna try to cover the song "Disintegration." That's gonna be a tough one.
Jesus.
Get all that out in one.
Playing the drums on that for like the whole songs and like keeping it steady. Jesus.
Hey,
Good
Yeah.
luck, kid, man.
pretty
Jeez.
cool. Yeah, I love that
it,
idea
man.
of like revisiting the
passion.
whole back catalog of the Cure from like now. Like it's
Yeah.
you hear everybody's story from like standing on the beach back or Wish back, and or Blood
I'm
Flowers.
a tad
even
jealous
back.
of his journey right now.
Yeah,
Where he's
I
getting to
know.
like learn this shit. And he's like listens to Spotify and he's like, wait, what's this? Faith?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah,
amazing. Like
Sweet. And
what a time to be a
Be alive.
fucking young person, man. What a time to be a person.
yeah.
Wow.
So, well, maybe we should wrap there. And even though we had some other call potential, so we'll definitely try this again later if you guys are
Next
down.
time.
Donald, Chaz, you cool with that?
I'm so
I'm
impressed.
cool with that.
All
I'm
right.
so impressed.
So what all our social anxiety? It was all for nothing, you know.
Social
Good-
media anxiety.
Social anxiety, or mine. I guess I shouldn't speak for you guys.
No, I agree.
No, I'm chill as fuck.
I bet you. I hope you are.
Colin.
After 26 bong rips, you better be chill.
I know. The sacrifices I make for this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, thanks to you guys too for
Fuck yeah.
for walking me through this journey, and yeah, we'll look
Fun as
forward to take
shit.
some more mystery callers and hashing it out with the good people out there, and so keep your eyes peeled to Instagram. Anyone listening out there,
don't.
you never know when this will pop up again. Mystery caller night. So
Fun.
mystery. So
I don't
for the
like
holy
mysteries.
hour.
Don't call.
Some mysteries.
Mysteries
I
are
hate
scary.
surprises.
I don't like surprises. They're scary.
Just tell me what I'm in for. All right, talk hard out there. Thank you, Dustin, Colleen, Donald,
Fuck
Chaz.
yeah.
Cheers and talk hard.
There's a room in your life.
All right, thanks again to everybody that reached out to be in this episode. We'll try to get you next time. Very cool. We really had no idea what to expect with this one, so I really appreciate anyone that reached out, and we hope to do it again soon and catch you next round. Otherwise, as of now, 2 Disintegration tribute shows in Sydney have happened, and they sound epic and awesome. The encore was all like demos and B-sides. Actually played No Heart and Delirious Night and Eston. Come on, man. That's got to be so cool. But despite what that dingus at the Guardian wrote, right? So anyway, we wish everybody the best out there for the remaining 2-3 shows. And yeah, and be sure to catch that live stream on Thursday, May 30th of the final Disintegration show. And wake up early if you're here in the U.S. on the East Coast to follow that stream. Along those lines, we got a cool heads up for an invite from none other than Mother Angel Blue is hosting another get-together. This one is put together with her sister, Amy Blue Medusa. It's Angel Blue Medusa Productions. They're putting together another meetup. They hosted the meetup that we did in Brooklyn before the Hall of Fame get-together. So it was really nice to meet her briefly. And you're in good hands. So she's hosting a meetup in Portland, Maine. So if you're up in that area, even remotely close, you want to get over there at 5:45 a.m. It'll go to about 8:45 a.m. And it's at a bar called Portland Zoo, which is an actual bar, not the zoo, which both would be rad, but probably better do it at a bar. They're going to be watching the live stream. I think legally they can't serve till 7, which, you know, is probably good for everybody technically. But yeah, it's bound to be awesome. If you are up there in that area, definitely go. Sounds like it's a free event, and you can all watch it together at bright and early, first thing in the morning. The live stream of Disintegration from Sydney. Like I said, you're in good hands with Mother Angel Blue. She's been doing this for years and knows how to host a Cure meetup for sure. So I really wish I was up there and could join you guys. So hopefully they'll send us some stuff of how that all goes and some post of how that goes, because that's bound to be pretty awesome in itself. So anyway, check that out if you're up in Portland, Maine. And early riser, go check it out. Otherwise, subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Instagram, and check out the Facebook page if you want to contact me directly about anything. Email me at gavinconner@gmail.com. We'll let it go at that. We'll catch you soon. Safe travels to Colleen out there in Australia. Hopefully you're having the time of your life. We'll talk soon. All right, take it easy, guys.